time you met Barack. What was your impression?
I was a first-year associate at Sidley and Austin. I just graduated from law school, had spent my first summer as year as an intern, and there was all this buzz about this hotshot young first-year law student from Harvard. And everyone, I mean, from the head of the firm on down, had talked about how brilliant this guy was, and it was rare that a firm as big as ours hired first-year students. So he was going to come in as a summer associate. And they decided that I should be his advisor, probably because we both went to the same law school. We were both minority students. So I remember getting his bio. And I probably did what a lot of people do when they hear about Barack Obama. First I thought, what kind of name is Barack Obama? And I found out that he grew up in Hawaii. And I found that strange as a girl who grew up on the south side of Chicago. I had never met anybody who lived in Hawaii. That was always where you vacationed. It wasn't where you were from.
Right.
And I found out that he was biracial. So my assumption was this guy's got to be kind of weird, right? Probably a little nerdy. I'd already sort of created an image of this very intellectual nerd. And I was prepared to be polite and all that. And then he walked into my office on that first day, and he was cuter than I thought he'd be. So that was a first positive impression, but I had to take him out to lunch on that first day, and we had to talk. And he told me more about his background, and he fleshed it out a bit more. I found out that his father was from Kenya, his mother was a white woman from Kansas, and that he had spent part of his life in Indonesia. And I just found him intriguing in every way that you can imagine. He was funny, he was self-deprecating, he didn't take himself too seriously. He could laugh at himself. I mean, we clicked right away. He was very down to earth despite having come from this very exotic background compared to mine.
And yet you didn't date him. You passed him off to your friends. Why?
You know, that was sort of part of where I was in my life, because I was taking my job as an advisor. I was his advisor very seriously, and it was my first responsibility as an associate. So, and my mind wasn't focused on dating. I thought this guy is going to be a good friend of mine. I liked him, we hung out, but I just didn't see that. I didn't see a relationship coming out of that.
So tell me about the first date, because he wanted to go out with you, and something must have changed. Tell me about that first date.
You know,
what did you do?
we had spent a month in the firm together, and we were developing a really good friendship. And he lived near me in Hyde Park. I lived in South Shore. I still live with my parents. So I liked him, but he insisted that we should go out on a date. And I thought, no, that wouldn't be the right thing to do. And he said, who cares? So I said, okay, we'll go on this one date, but we won't call it a date. I'll spend the day with you. So we wound up spending the day. We went to the Art Institute in Chicago, and he impressed me with his knowledge of art. And we went to lunch in one of the outdoor cafes at the Art Institute where they were playing jazz. So that was really sweet. And then we walked up Michigan Avenue. It was on a really beautiful summer day. We just walked and we talked and we talked, and we wound up going to see a movie. And our first movie was Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee. It had just come out. So that was sort of his cultural side too. So he was sort of pulling out all the stops. And then we wound up having a drink on the 99th floor of the John Hancock building, and that gives you a beautiful view of the city. And probably by the end of that date, it was over.
You were sold.
I was sold.
It was an interesting video to watch. Could it be that Michael LaVaughn Robinson could have been switched out, because this is like an entire different person based off the one we see now? But I'm just making a wild assumption, but y'all let me know what y'all think down below. He spoke on being Barry Soetoro's advisor, which I also found it to be very interesting. And then he spoke on them going to the same law school, which is the same law school that they had to give up their law license because all the criminal acts that they had did to receive that law license. What's actually very interesting as well is that the individual said that Barry Soetoro seemed to be a little weird before he got to meet him. Big Mike actually mentioned how Barry Soetoro spent part of his life in Indonesia, but he doesn't mention how this individual was actually born out there. Let's not forget that in their college days, at this time, they were both men. So he's speaking on the experience that he had with Barry Soetoro as a man. Let's not forget, I showed y'all the pictures that in college is when they actually met, and soon after that is when he started to make the transition. So he's literally telling us the story of how he met Barry Soetoro as a man. Let's also not forget what the college professor said of him not having no record of Barry Soetoro even going to college, or no records of him even being a student, or no records of him even graduating. So is these people literally trying to flip the script and tell us something that never really actually happened? Did they just take pictures on campus just because they knew that they were going to one day have to fool the people? I don't know. Y'all drop y'all comments down below and let me know what y'all think. And the fact that Big Mike didn't see a relationship coming from Barry Soetoro lets me know that they had to be not forced to be together, but they had to be put together due to the fact that later on down the line, they would have to fulfill the agenda of the LGBT community. But I ain't gonna do too much. We already know for a fact that these individuals are fraudulent. These individuals have committed treason, espionage. These individuals have committed crimes against humanity, and somehow, some way, these individuals have not been penalized for their criminal acts. When is it going to come to a point where these individuals have to finally take the stand and let us know the truth? With that being said, Big Mike, you didn't say so much. It's about time you just come on out and tell the people who you really are. We already know. There's no need to continue to hide it. Just come out and tell the people that yes, the reason for the LGBT community is because me and Barry Soetoro wanted to get married, but we knew that it wouldn't be accepted among the public. We already know that you're a man. We already know that Marion Robinson had two sons, Craig being the older brother and Michael Levon Robinson being the younger brother. And with that being said, these are just my thoughts and opinions. Y'all can let me know y'all thoughts and opinions down below. But until next time, y'all already know the rest. This is just food for thought. And if you function with me, make sure y'all drop y'all comments down below. Make sure y'all drop y'all thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure y'all share this video and give this video a huge like if you function with me, if you appreciate the investor search that I have to do in order to bring you guys these 16-year-old videos that somehow keep getting scrubbed from the internet. With that being said, I appreciate y'all, and we know that these people have been manipulating the system and have been using corrupt acts. As I always like to express in all my other videos, I am not here to turn non-believers into believers. I'm only here to bring y'all food for thought. And with that being said, your opinion is your opinion.
It's pretty difficult, let's face it. I felt like this was going to be a very hard life for both of them.
It was an unraveling mystery. It was kind of a distraction tactic. It's like you took them one way and
Michael and I also want to acknowledge
I mean, this dude is a genius.